Hello, Lilith and Aries, or Lilith in the first house. So I'm doing it as that right now. And so if you are coming here and thinking, oh, Aries, I'm an Aries sun, this is not really for you. You want to go check your Lilith? I'll put a link in the description. Well, the easiest thing is if you go to Astrology Cafe or just search engine how to determine what my Lilith sits in, you can find that for yourself. This is specifically for those who Lilith is in Aries or it's in the first house. It's a little bit similar, but it's also a little bit different. So I would encourage you, as I'm releasing these, you could like it because you could have Lilith in Aries, but it could be in your 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th house. So you can go and check that out too and get a little bit of information out of that. So this is going to be interesting. This is one of probably the strongest points. I mean, I've done a little bit of research into Lilith in the different houses, as well as zodiac energies that it sits in. I'm not fully versed on it, but from what I've read of this one, it's a tough one. And it's tough because it really embodies the energy of Lilith. So particularly if you have it in the first house, I'm not going to get too much into it because I could go on. And you can literally just research that and read as much as you want about it. So the whole point of what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out messages from Lilith. So it gets real interesting here. I sat down with the cards that I was guided that she wanted us to use for these readings. And I had them sitting here and I'm getting ready to shuffle out one. Heaven and Earth is the one deck. And then the other deck is Murder of Crows. So I'm shuffling Heaven and Earth. Actually, I barely get started on it. And she says, combine the decks. Combine the decks. I think I don't like combining. The ice maker in the fridge is going off. Sorry if you hear it. I'm not big on combining decks just because I find them difficult to shuffle. And they almost never are the exact size. And I don't like that. I really don't. It bothers me as a shuffler, or maybe there's some sort of OCD or that Gemini in me doesn't like it. I literally heard, put them together, you'll like it, you'll see. They are exactly the same size. Like, not even the weight of the stock is different. It blew my mind because she was right. Do it, you'll like it. It's kind of that energy. So I'm doing it and I'm working on it, and it's not easy. So it took me a long time to get this deck combined as best as I could, and I've shuffled it many, many times. As I'm shuffling it, the deck, the image, so the back, you can see the back, how it's different. Hang with me, this is part of your message. So the back here, this is Murder of Crows, and this is Heaven and Earth. And it's so visually distracting. Like I put them together and I'm thinking to myself, it's dominating me visually. The one deck is dominating me visually. And she said, yeah. We were like, yeah, it's dominating you visually. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. And I felt like saying, I feel like to me, the Murder of Crows imagery is very masculine. Like it's intense and it's in my face. It's very yang. And then the Heaven and Earth deck is very just sort of calm and peaceful, like an abyss. So it's visually in my face. It's dominating me visually. That's what it was. It's dominating me visually. And I thought that's really interesting. Because Aries in the first house, Lilith in the first house, you will dominate people sexually. You will pull them in, and there'll be all sorts of people that you are not the least bit interested in. Some of them you may be. And it just kind of seems like this is something that you'll be dealing with throughout life. It's you. You're the draw in this. And then like Lilith and Aries is like the embodiment of Lilith, because Aries is of the self. So it's you project this. So it's that's why I want to say it's kind of a tough one to start with, but I'm going to start at the beginning with Aries. And just do your own research, read as much about it as you can, because really what we discover about hidden truths within ourselves is what really helps to free ourselves from things that feel like they've always been holding us back. So just wanted to put that out there. So I have combined these two decks. I'm just going to, I am going to pull out a message and let it flow. I'm going to pull out one card here from the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. There is going to be an extended with these. So what I'm going to do with the extendeds is they are pretty open. I'm going to continue to pull cards in the extended, and I'm just going to kind of, I would classify it as maybe more like a semi-private reading because there's a lot less energy in an extended than out on like a public YouTube. So if you are drawn to it, the link will be at the top of the description within this video. But let's get started now. You have discretion, adaptability, and intuition. I'm going to keep going. You have Venus in Virgo, you have Moon in Gemini, and you have Mercury in Cancer. Domineering is something that you will work through. I'm seeing that in the adaptability card. Sorry, guys. There. And now look at the discrimination. There's the feminine. There's a lot of feminine and masculine sitting right here. And okay, and your intuition though is what's going to help you get through a lot of situations where you feel dominated or where your reaction is to dominate. So one of the messages I'm getting from the cards on the bottom is we have the Knight of Wands and then we have the Moon. What I'm getting with that is, okay, a big thing for you is your drive to move forward and to move forward to things, like really feeling, I know this, I know what I want, I know where I'm going. And even if it's taking you into the unknown, what I like here is there's a sense within you that you're finding your femininity through your expression of your masculinity. Because it's like this moon here has no face. There's nothing there. But then here we see, and this is it's very feminine face. Like moving towards the unknown for you can, like, it might feel scary at times. And I say the unknown, and I mean that in terms of a lot to do with relationships and how you relate to people within relationship. And that can be romantic, platonic. I'm getting a lot of like just generally like sexual. So it's like you need to push out the biggest parts of your masculinity to find your femininity in the unknown. And almost like conquest energy. I would say a little bit like conquest energy. And each conquest is another step that gets you closer to the femininity within you. And when you hit the femininity within you, it's almost as if allowing to be the conquest, no longer needing to be the conquest, or like actively conquesting something. So being receptive. You have the Princess of Swords, Earthly Power, which is the Four of Pentacles, the Ace of Cups, the Knight of Pentacles. Underneath the Princess of Swords, you have the Hierophant. Underneath the Earthly Powers, you have Queen of Swords. Underneath the Ace of Cups, you have the Wheel of Fortune. Underneath the Knight of Pentacles, you have the Fool. So the message that I'm getting for you right now is still holding true, like with these three cards, about the search for your femininity. I'm really hearing like the search for your femininity here. And part of that journey is working through oppression. Like feeling oppressed, feeling dominated, feeling like you need to dominate. A lot of back and forth control and release of control in relationships. And I do feel like early on, like needing to control, because there's a protective mechanism working here. There's a protective mechanism within you, sort of on a subconscious level, why the masculine energy is coming through, to almost like do something before it can be done to you. And then as you continue to move forward in experience, this does start to wane. It's not like you're doing anything incorrectly. You're really having to be the conqueror. I really feel like you're really having to be the conqueror. And not early on. It almost seems like really early on in life, you were very receptive. You were much more like exhibiting your yin energy. But I feel like maybe even just like one or two very small specific instances that happened in your life, likely linked to how masculine energy was utilized around you. And that could have been men or women, masculine or feminine people, just how certain energies were utilized. It's going to take my hair down. I still have to dry it. Triggered this sense of protection, which comes out as very dominating. I'm going to dominate the situation before it has a chance to control me. So you are on a path of enlightenment here. It does feel very like yogi, very, very yogi, but it's like getting there. It's like the hard knocks. This kind of feels like the hard knocks of life right in here. Starting off too, when I say, okay, so I'm saying young. So I want to say like very childlike. This is very childlike to me, like playing with the butterflies, being very youthful and innocent and perhaps even naive about the world. So even before like even your teens. But then I get here with the Princess of Swords. This is coming out into an energy that is a little more mature. It feels a little bit like perhaps in your teen years. And then we hit this earthly power, which is like an emperor in waiting with the Four of Pentacles. The young emperor, he has his crown here. He sits. He has, he's got his power and he's controlling it. So do you see what I'm saying? Like there's not much that gets by you with this defense mechanism. Standing up against tradition. I feel like too, this is a placement that particularly for women, and I'm going to say, because I can't, people go, oh, it's not women, it's femininity, or, you know what, it is women, because there's a lot of instances where women in a lot of societies are not allowed to express themselves. And because the Aries of energy is masculine, it can be completely misinterpreted in many societies and like, no, you cannot act that way, you cannot behave that way. So there can be a sense of oppression, particularly even earlier for some feminines. And I say feminines too. So what I'm feeling here, what I'm trying to describe is, because I'm not just talking to people in North America or Western, the Western globe. So there are situations too where men can be very feminine, but they don't even let it out. Like it's not even seen. So that's what I'm sort of taught, because they can't. They could be persecuted and stoned and killed. That they don't even display it. It's really, really hidden. So that's why I'm coming out and talking about men and women, because it is still an archetypal energy that is very strong all over the world. So getting back to that, if you are female, definitely trying to push against what makes you feel like you have to follow a certain script. This is the script that you have to follow, and this is what's expected of you. That also does come into play for any men that are holding back their feminine energy. This is a script. There's a script here, and you have to play it. So that's how that comes into play. You've got to follow the script. And then that's when the sword comes up. I know my truth. I really am not going to deal with this. And in some cases, some people, depending on where you are living, are going to go through situations where you're really not sharing at all. This can even feel like a mask. Like this can be a man who's like not showing anything, but deep inside there's an awful lot of feminine energy that's waiting to come out. But I do see this too as a lot of feminine energy just putting on that young emperor, that inexperienced emperor, and I'm hanging on to what I have and I'm not letting anything in. There's a lot of not letting anything in here with the Queen of Swords sitting right underneath that, because wow, she has cut the head off. This is only the second deck that I have where the Queen of Swords is holding that decapitated head. What I see here is then your feminine, this is almost like a push and pull going on here between masculine and feminine for you guys, for being receptive and then being like impulsive and going after what you really want to go after. And then it's almost as if the femininity gets so tired of sitting within this holding space of the earthly power that it busts out and almost cuts off its own head. Like it actually looks like the masculine in this. It's like the same head. It's the same hair. It's the same facial hair. Because it's really interesting that that happens, like cutting off the head of your own masculinity, which to me represents the ego, the mind, the ego, overthinking process perhaps too. Because look, this is almost like, it's very visual. Like if you cut off the head, imagine as the heart is still pumping, everything is going to continue to flow. And look at that. Look at the flow, like purging emotion. It's an emotional purge. So the masculine within you plays a very, very key part in protecting the feminine. And then the feminine almost comes out so strongly. I want to say there could even be maybe for some people a sense of self-harm. And that could even be just, I think mostly more like self-talk though with these swords here, like talking yourself down. It's kind of funny because I feel like to other people, you don't talk yourself down, but internally you might, until the head is cut off. And then the emotion finally has a vehicle. It finally has an opening to come through. It has the head of this young emperor has to be cut off for all the emotion to finally come through. And that's your change. There's your shift. So there is a shift that can occur for you. I think the important thing is to embrace your process. It's really important to embrace your process. And if you feel like part of the process is starting to, or wanting and starting to change for you, but you've been in a certain element or cycle of process for such a period of time that it's difficult to move out of it, that's the challenge for you. Because once you move out of process, you change your own destiny in a way. You change your own circumstances and your own fortune moving forward. And then this just seems like so calm with the Knight of Pentacles and the, oh, wow, the Fool. The Fool is going back in this direction. So you kind of make a plan. You kind of make a plan and you're going to move forward, but not in a way that is impulsive, not in a way that is carrying all this like almost like over emotion. You may use your emotions to express yourself in a way that's not at all romantic or not at all connected to other people when this happens. Because I mean, I'm not seeing it played out anywhere. I'm almost seeing it like it could even just be a purge of tears, laughter, artistic expression. There's something here that really happens for you that is overflowing once that head comes off, once the ego is finally dismissed. But the ego is existing to protect what needs to be almost like a chrysalis that sits inside you for such a period of time. So yeah, the Knight of Pentacles feels like now there's stability. It's like a waterbed or something that needed, or an overfilled water balloon. Like nothing, there was always this feeling of maybe sloshing around inside, or not feeling comfortable with your emotions because there's so much in there, it needs to come out. And then when it finally does, I just feel like this peace here, this peace with yourself. So what's so interesting is because then that starts the kind of very systematic, logical, practical, step-by-step approach to now move forward in life. And with the Fool sitting underneath it, you're going on a journey that you've not gone on before. But because I see the Fool looking back at all of this, I don't think you're going to go back and relive your whole life like everyone that you've encountered in your lifetime. What I feel like is going to happen is you're going to come to situations, people, places, and circumstances that will be similar to ones that you've had before. But, so here's the thing, they're not going to look like that to you, because the head that you used to look at everything through is gone. It's a completely different perspective. So I do feel like Lilith is coming through to tell you that you are going to relive, but you're going to relive from literally two elements of you. You're going to live life with this one element of protection and domineering. That comes off. You're going to continue to live life, and you won't, unless you really step back. I mean, even just saying this might give you the ability to become consciously aware of the situations that you are going towards, and that there is a similarity, but the difference is what you're putting into those situations, how you're putting that in, and what you're receiving back is what changes everything about this for you. Everything. What's at the bottom? Oh, yeah, wow, what a shift on the bottom. Look at friendship and optimism. Yeah, wow, what a big shift. Friendship and optimism. It's supposed to cutting off this head, but it was cutting off your own. What is that phrase? Cutting your face off to spite your nose? I feel like this is almost like hanging on to, it's like hanging on to a mask to spite your inner beauty. That's how I would describe this. Hanging on to a mask to spite your inner beauty. And once you've removed that, you've cut it away, I feel like you become very expressive, artistically, perhaps even romantically. And I really do see like a second chance at things here for you. It could be one major prospect in life. Some of you too, with the Fool going back and seeing the Hierophant here, I will say some of you could, as a replay, you could end up married at least twice in your lifetime. But I really don't think the second time is going to end up like the first time. And you may not even be married, or maybe you're in a long-term committed relationship with someone. I am kind of getting the sense that some of you will have more than one major long-term commitment. And when I say major, I don't mean that like a boyfriend in college and you guys you're sharing the same dorm or renting the same place for the 2-3 years or whatever that you're there. I don't mean that at all. I mean like you're going to work, you're sharing the bills, and you're probably doing that for at least 5, 6, 7 years or more. And for some of you, even more, because everybody's journey is going to be a little bit different on how this comes out. So let's look at the Hierophant. The Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, some of you guys, I really feel like you're going to have more than one committed relationship here. And depending like where you sit in life right now, you're like, no, there's no way. And for some of you, no. It could be a complete rebirth in a relationship that you have with one person. But you come back around in it as a very different person than who you were when you entered that relationship, and you find balance again. But I really feel like for more of you, oh yeah, so secondary message coming out. This earthly power, because what I was saying, what you project is kind of what you receive back. This is not a true emperor, because he's just kind of in waiting, and his head has been cut off. So it's also identifying who has the equal strength to truly be with you, and cutting that off here, cutting out a situation with the Hierophant. Can you tell us more about the situation the second time around with this Wheel of Fortune? It does feel like to me, if it wasn't good, the Nine of Swords and the Eight of Swords, I almost feel like it's something that you really do want, but there's some sort of block involved. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be, I feel like for some of you, there may be instances where you are drawn to people that are already committed in relationships. This is getting deeper and deeper. Already committed to people in relationships, and you can't go there. You can't explore that. The Queen of Swords. The Knight of Swords. Wow, you have like 3 knights here now. Charging towards, okay, guys, I really feel it coming through again. Because now it's like charging forward into this, this Wheel of Fortune. Like determined to change your fortune. Determined to change your fortune. I really feel that, and I don't think that's ever going to go away in your lifetime. Is this determination or desire to change the circumstances, to change the wheel of destiny for yourself. But it seems like the real important message here is the defenses that you put up, what caused those? Why are they sitting there? Because I feel like you almost maybe start gravitating towards things that are out of limit and out of touch for you. You can't go there, you can't get that. So I'm going to try the next Wheel of Fortune. I want to say, I think some of you may even kind of like get off on the challenge. The challenge of not acquiring exactly what you want or you're looking for or hoping to find. The Wheel of Fortune. The Page of Wands. Okay, there's a real sense of wanting freedom here. I'm really getting that too. There's definitely a sense of wanting freedom and wanting connection. Some of you, I feel like too, non-traditional relationships might be like what you want to gravitate towards, and there ain't nothing wrong with that, because tradition is just a concept that a certain group of people have created, and everyone's just said, okay, that seems good, we'll do that for now. So, because if things get too heavy for you, it almost makes you feel a little bit self-destructive and needing to get out of that, or needing to destroy what this is. This is too much. This isn't the direction that I wanted it to go, that I hoped it would go, that I feel like I can express myself and grow and mature through this. Yeah, I do with this energy feel like there might be instances where you just can't take this anymore and you're almost like gone in the night. But what I see here though is this Page of Wands is really fresh, and it's a beautiful fire energy. It's looking for a new path, a new place to go, kind of following your instinct again. It does feel like relationships can be hard for you. And I feel like if you are in committed relationships, that you are really absolutely committed to being in with people or a person. it's really important that you have some sort of free reign in your life. Somehow that you can express yourself freely, that you can feel like, you know what, it's okay if I'm gone for the weekend. I'm not feeling actually like really like a cheater energy on any level here. I'm just feeling like there's a sense of independence that really needs to be acknowledged. Otherwise, you end up so tightly bound that your emotions, the only way you can have them flow through is to have a complete death of your ego, of who you are and what you've created. The Fool. The Fool. The Eight of Wands. See, you need movement. You really, guys, you guys are ones that need movement. You need, some of you too, like, this could be, if you picked a career, and it would be a career where perhaps you moved around a lot. Maybe like almost like a traveling salesman. I don't even know if they do that anymore. That sort of a career would be possibly good for you. It doesn't feel like, you know, sitting in the same place and going to the same 9 to 5 and dealing with the same people and the same problems and the same situations over and over and over again. None of that is good for you. And I feel like even in a committed relationship, you still need to be able to go out and have your group. And if you're feminine and you're drawn to masculine energy, hanging out with the guys or hanging, but I'm really not getting any sense of not being committed to a partnership. What I am seeing here is if that partnership starts to suffocate you on some level, it affects your mental health big time. It really affects your mental health big time. And your mind is just like this Knight of Swords and the Queen of Swords taking that head off. I see you here, even if you're your own commander-in-chief, you will destroy yourself to be able to be free and find what it is that you desire here. And I see creative expression, movement, new choices, new experiences are really, really important to you. I don't think a lot of people can handle how much you are on an everyday 24-hour basis. I think it'd be healthy for you and other people that you're involved with to have this space. Because I feel like that's when you find peace. You always need to go for, like, you're just like an engine. You are really, like with Lilith and Aries, you are definitely an engine of fire and expression. And with Lilith in the first house, like people, it almost feels like you'd be overwhelmed by how many people are coming towards you. I just need a break. Or even like people in your life, like your own spouse, your parents, your kids, just because they are drawn. Like, just, you're like the honey that the bees want to come to. You need broad shoulders for this one. Look at the Justice card and the King of Swords. Yeah, this is really discovering your truth, and wouldn't it be? Finding the balance of what really truth is for you. It seems pretty accurate for Lilith and Aries or the first house. I'm just waiting to see if there's anything else here about this. I think you always need to find new friendships. You really can't be held back from that. And it does seem like, I think if you just can go through sort of life with that concept of some people are here for, some people are in your life for a long time and some people are in your life for a season. That's really prominent here for sure. If you can kind of come to terms with that, I think it would help you a lot, because you are a lot. I don't think a lot of people can handle how much you are. And that's not your problem. That's, you know, theirs to deal with, and you get what you get from them and you grow. And then though it almost seems like, well, you can't grow anymore, you need to bust out. Give yourself permission to do that. There we go. We all survived. That was okay. All right, I'm going to go do the extended. I am going to sit and see what she wants me to do with that, and we'll see. Until next time, be gentle with yourselves. Bye.